dreamt that I died and to heaven did go. Where did you come from, they wanted to know. Now I says the black country, and how they did stare. They said, come right in, Joe, you're the first bloke from there. Holly-o, holly-o, with a ankle I do Some years ago, my father gave me good advice. He told me 4 things, and I always remember them up till today. He told me, never be licked. That's never let your wife get boss of you. Never let your neighbor get too near your backbone. That is, have plenty to eat and drink. And he also told me never to back any horses, which I never do. And the last thing he told me was never to fight after I was 50. I think that was good advice, don't you? My father, you know, he was a rough diamond, but he was a typical black countryman. And I've thought about those words ever since.
That's the black country of Joe Mallon, Cradley Heath in Staffordshire, where the chains and anchors come from. They work hard and play hard. It's Friday morning.
You feel much better Friday morning than what you do Monday morning, being payday. No sooner I put the lights on, the cock's starting to crow. One crows, the other crows. I've had complaints from the neighbours about they can't sleep after 5:30 in the morning. They say put them in a low pen, as they can't cock their heads up. But mine'd lie down and crow. Mine would.
Well, I kept a pub for nearly 30 years. And in those days, I didn't know I had a chainmaker for a husband. I never saw him until he came home to breakfast at 9 o'clock.
When I got married on 30 shilling a week. Work was very short. We was only doing 2 and 3 and 4 days a week. Some weeks none. And we used to get up early of a morning, 5 o'clock of a morning, and walk up into other factories to see if that one man hadn't turned up, or one of the strikers hadn't turned up, as we could have a day's work there. So, you see, some fellas would overlie themselves, or they'd have the flu or something like that. Half I go to work on the bus, sometimes take the dog. It always a pal, you know. If you've got no money and you've got a dog, he'll always stick to you, whether you've got any money or not. I get there most mornings, you know, a bit early. And then while my mates are getting the eats hot, I go and wander around the yard and have a word or two with one of the Chainsmiths, just to pass the time of day.
Morning, George. Morning, Joe. Still bending and shutting them? Oh, we'll hold it right.
The iron chain trade is a dying industry. It's dying out. Our works, where I work today, I've worked there over 50 years. And I dare say there was 100 people at work at our factory. The lads leaving school now, they won't entertain it, they won't have it. It's too hard. That's the reason.
This is the chain shop where Joe works.
I'm the gaffer of this job, you know, and there's 4 in our team. And when we're on with any big work, we have 2 more to help us, George and Jimmy. And they're good lads. They know the job. There's Ernie Rock. He's been with me over 40 years, and he's a damn good workman. And Ernie Priest, he's been with me over 6 years. And then we've got Tommy, the 4th hammer, what we call the 4th hammer. He's a proper comedian, but there's no joking when the heat comes out. Everybody's got to know his job, and the iron's got to be struck while it's hot.
Today they're shutting the ends of a 400-weight iron ring for a big sling, forging the ends together. It'll end up lifting railway engines in India. It's hard and sweaty work. Everybody has to know exactly what he's at and do it fast.
It takes 6 men one day to shut one ring, 5.5 diameter. What I call a day's work is 5 hours for a day's work on our job. We've had enough in 5 hours. When I left school, there was only 3 things that you could work at. That was being a collier, you go down a pit, or going to the iron works where they roll the iron, or going to the chain and anchor works. And I found out this, since I've got old, that it isn't the skilled men as have got the money. It's the unskilled men as have got the money. The mascot of England should be a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I would definitely sooner have a Staffordshire Bull Terrier than all the bulldogs. I don't think 100 bulldogs could kill 100 mice in 100 minutes. A Stafford, years ago, was bred for fighting and bull baiting and all that. A true Stafford, you don't like the sight of another dog. That's his trouble.
The next class is class 8, which is a postgraduate pitch.
I wouldn't be without a Stafford. I've had him for about 40 years.
In the evening, you'll come home with a crowd of fellows, adjourn into the dining room, and then the subject's going to be fowls, game fowls, of course, the colour, what they can do, what they have done, and out they go to the pens, and of course, bring the fowls in the house. And then the fun begins. One has got one better than another. One says the black-breasted breds are the best. Others say the duck wings. And of course, I think he thinks he knows all about it. I don't know much about it. So I just have to just sit and listen and hope for the best. When my old man sits down to a meal, of course, it's usually a mixed grill. That consists sometimes of 1.5 pounds of steak with all the trimmings. Otherwise, about half a dozen lamb chops, also with the trimmings. And of course, he enjoys it, every bit of it.
Yes, and while the missus is doing her shopping of a Saturday, I'm in the canteen at the works. This is a big chain that we've got to start on. Are you coming to the concert tonight at the Pear Tree, Tom?
And 8 o'clock on Saturday night finds Tom in the Pear Tree.
And the gapper gave him a supper, where he worked. And they had a skinful. Oh, they'd had a skinful all right. They had to walk back with the heads backward like that. And teddy girl, you know, they got married. And they had a teddy bear. And here you are.
Best of all, ladies and gentlemen, please, this time. Our favourite is obliged us with another number for Big Ann, and the best of order, please, for Dinky.
Right.
Now when lights are low, my thoughts always go. Like a dream, she soon was gone, 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 but a spell still lingers on. It was in that Persian market I found love and lost my heart. I found love and lost my heart.
Come on, Joe, sing one. Come on.
What, me? Not tonight. He'll take that off.
This is what I've been waiting for Big Ann, and the best of order, please, for Joe Mullin.
All right, then I'll sing that one. You order. Good old Joe. Good old Joe. Good old Joe, right? Come on, Joe, right? Good old Joe.
An old tramp was resting one day down a lane when a lot of young sportsmen came by. They passed many jokes on his tattered old clothes, and the tramp heard these words with a sigh. What a scarecrow he looks, says some young fellow there, like a bundle of rags come untied. The rest of them laughed at the joke of their friend, and the tramp looked up and replied, you can't put a stop to misfortune, for what is to be will be. I might have been up in the world like you, and you might have been down like me. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, Tommy, do your stuff now. Come on, give us the poker.
That's it, that's your luck for the night, chaps. Time, ladies and gentlemen, please. Come on, lads, let's have your glasses.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Jasper now is going to bend this poker with his teeth. Anybody else think they can do it? I'll give them £1. Here you are, Tom. Do your stuff. the whippet racing men in Craigleith today, you'll always find them in the cross guns of a Sunday dinner time. You go down there, very likely you'll see anything from a dozen to 20 whippets there, dogs and bitches of a Sunday dinner time. They pay 2 or 300 quid for a good whippet. I would myself if I was young, and I should only think about having the best. And nothing but the purest blood I should have as regards whippets. I'd soon get the money back, especially if it was a bitch. And she won a good few big races. She'll win 300 or 400 or 500 quid, or more than that, in a season. And sometimes a fellow will bring one, perhaps for 15 or 20 mile away. They want to sell this whippet. And then you get together, and the fellow says, how much you want for it? Well, I want a tenner. Well, can I try it before I buy it? Oh, you'll try it. Well, what about trying it with Ginny? Bill's Ginny. And if her beats Bill's Ginny, I'll give you 10 quid for her. Right, I will go and try her.
The stranger's dog has won and proved his worth of a tenner. They join the pals and do a deal, and then they go off for their dinner and traditional Sunday afternoon bed.
I wouldn't take 20 for him. Not nonsense, not 20. Oh, well. I wouldn't take 20 for him. Well, that's it.
Monday morning again, same old shops, same old faces. I've been here for 50 years, and I shall be here another 50 if I'm lucky. But I've always been happy with my work. And my father told me years and years ago that the best die first. He says, now, be as bad as you can, you'll live a good while. Right? What do you think about that?